Members, we are going to take this opportunity to say a few words about the Majority Leader. This is the Majority Leader in Calderon's last session. Ms. Gonzalez. What's that? Mr. Holden, we're going to start with you. Ms. Gonzalez will be on deck. Mr. Holden.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It just seemed like yesterday, not too long ago, but it was in 2013 that the Majority Leader and I were sworn in and became seatmates for the first time. He was a standout in our class for his young age, well-known last name, kind of like me. In fact, we established a commonality on our first swearing-in day as our fathers, both former legislators, sat next to each other with us on the floor. But since then, he has shown us the thoughtful, hard-working statesman he is. As a person, he is loyal and demonstrates integrity to the highest order. But he also has a great sense of humor and a contagious laugh that brings joy to your spirit. He has promoted camaraderie as one of the founders of the Democrats and Republicans' annual baseball game. Unfortunately, this year, because of the pandemic, you weren't able to participate in the last one for you. He led legislative efforts to give patients the right to try, utilize the tech sector for the good of all Californians, and establish California's official sport, surfing. While serving, he started a family. We see him beam with pride when his wife, Elise, and the 3 children, Charlie, Hartley, and Crew, are nearby. They have not just been his joy, they have also inspired his work as he led the effort on diaper changing tables and all public bathrooms, regardless of gender. As Majority Leader, he has managed the floor with professionalism, efficiency, and fairness, never afraid to raise his mic to maintain order on the floor. I know from experience that job is not an easy one, especially during the last few weeks of session. He has managed these last days well over the past 4 years, but during this particularly unusual and trying session, he has demonstrated he is a true leader. My only regret, Ian, is that we never had an opportunity to work on a bill together. But I look forward to seeing what you do in the future, and I know it will be great, because I know your future is bright. God bless you, friend.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Ms. Gonzalez, you are recognized.
Thank you. My first day in office, I got sworn in and walked back here and had the opportunity to be seated right in front of Ian Calderon. And at that moment, I really didn't know. I just assumed he was some rich kid that used his name to get elected into office, watching surf videos when no one was looking. But there was something about him, like I'm sure we all felt, that just made you love him. And Ian quickly became, sometimes I say like my other child, but more like a little brother. We had some rough patches. We didn't have rough patches, but there were some rough patches. And we really grew close. Ian and I had the great pleasure of being in the doghouse together for about a year, deciding that loyalty mattered more than being in a good position in this house, and we paid for it together. And in that year, he taught me a lot about diplomacy. I taught him a lot about butcher paper. And we worked together and worked to ensure that the direction of this house was led by somebody we both and so many of you believed in. I don't know a single name that'll come up in a conversation on this floor that Ian won't say, I got it, I'm going to go talk to that person, we're close. And you never question it because you know he really does have a relationship with every single one of you, that he's been there for you. He heard you. He listened to you. He tried to fix something for you. And I don't know many leaders who do that, who spend more time listening than talking, who spend more effort to fix things than getting something for themselves. But that's Ian. I, like so many of you, had the great honor of watching him kind of grow up, get married to Elise, the most fabulous woman in the world, have the most adorable children, Charlie and Hartley and Crew. I'm really sad we haven't been able to hold Crew yet. But in all of that, I realized last year in November when he said he was going to spend time with family rather than run for re-election, how incredibly sincere that was. How many people run for office that are so incredibly sincere about their values that they say, no, at the end of the day, this is what matters to me. I want to be with my family. And I think there were folks, out in La La Land, not among us, who thought there's something going on, right? The other shoe's going to drop. No. He just was doing what was best for his family. Just like he, time and time again, did what was best for this house. Did what was best for all of us. Made sure he was the one that got you all together on a softball field. Make sure everybody felt included. Make sure every voice was heard. We serve here for a limited number of years. And when I first came here, people told me, these aren't your real friends. You're going to move on. It's nice. They're your acquaintances. But I really would question how many of us are going to leave tonight saying goodbye to our real friend. Somebody who's going to continue to be our real friend as he leaves here. Somebody who you're going to want to check in with. How seldom does that happen? I want to, as he leaves too, give a shout out to his chief of staff, Tom White. I know that's kind of weird, but you got to take advantage of that opportunity. Who always seemed to find me when I was lost and direct me the right way. I kind of feel like Evan assigned him to Evan and Ian assigned him to finding me lost somewhere on some floor and telling me where I should go back to. I don't know if Tom's here. Or when I'm standing here looking lost. So we're going to hopefully not miss Tom. He'll still be here. But that's also an extension of what Ian has created in his office. People who want to help us all. Ian, I did that all without crying. But I'm going to miss you. You're still going to get my midnight texts, making fun of your dad jokes, asking you for advice, telling you your memes are stupid, but wishing you were still here. You have done such an incredible job. It's been such an honor to be your friend and to watch you grow into such an incredible leader. This institution has been changed because you were here, and I'm so proud to call you my friend.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Mr. Gibson, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me just simply say this. A lot of people talked about stories of Ian. I want to focus on the 3 F's. One, family. I want to say Ian Charles Calderon, our majority leader. I want to talk about family. Let me say Elise, Charlie, Harley, and Crew are the priorities of your family. You have made that very clear, that they come first. I respect that immensely. because now you have an opportunity to watch Charlie, Harley, and crew grow up, pack them lunch, see them off on the first day of school, say goodbye, and pick them up. Family. Even sometime tucking them in at bed at night and possibly saying the prayer that my mother used to say to me, "Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take." Family has been the priority for you. Focus. You are so focused on family that it is apparent that they are the number one priority for you. Focus on being a husband. Focus on being a dad to Charlie, Harley, and crew. You are now making them the focus so that you will never miss the precious moments, because you will focus on family and because you're focused. The last F is for future. Ian Charles Calderon will write the new narrative, the new chapter for his beautiful wife, for Charlie, for Harley and crew. You will write the future that is unlimited. You will paint the best picture, better than any artist can ever paint. You will paint the picture that they can grow up to be anything that they want to do and be. You will also paint the picture of their future, that the future is unlimited. Why? It's because you served in the California State Assembly. You made the difference. And when you write that chapter, my friend, understand whatever you do from here on out, the best is still yet to come.
Thank you, Ms. Gibson. Mr. Speaker, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members. Gee, I hope I don't tear up. There's been a lot of misconceptions about Ian and I. First of all, we're not identical twins. We look a lot alike, and we're probably the same age. And we actually haven't known each other as long as some people think. Ian and I actually met in 2011. We met as candidates when a lot of us were candidates. 2011 was a crazy year. It was the year of the redistricting commission. And there was a point where Ian and I thought we might run against each other. And a former speaker suggested that we sit down together. And I didn't want to like him. I wanted to hate him. I thought that we were both going to run against one another. And the former speaker asked me to go spend some time with them. And we should all do what speakers ask us to do. Which hasn't really happened tonight. But I decided to do that. And I sat down. I went to a coffee shop in Whittier, really close to my parents' house. And I walked in. I'm like, oh, God, I hope this lasts like 10 minutes because I'm really not going to like this guy. And we sat down, and I was immediately struck by how incredibly empathetic he was. What's amazing about this job is that none of us has the experiences to be able to fully represent 40 million people. None of us do. The best we can do is to hope to have empathy, to understand people. And Ian does that time and time again. And I walked out of that coffee shop, and I went to my mom's house down the street, and I said, Mom, if I don't represent you in the assembly, I met the guy who's going to represent you. And she said, what's his name? And I said, Ian Calderon. And she said, oh, we don't vote for Calderons in this house. In my home, we always voted for the more progressive Democratic candidate on the ballot. They always lost to Calderons. And, but the lines were drawn. We ended up in different districts. and we ended up here. And the reason you both ended up in the doghouse was because of me. We both decided early on to mount the speakership run and didn't quite work out that first time. But then there are the original 6, you all know who you are, who the second time around, we all sat down, got out a piece of butcher paper, and figured it out. And everything that's happened, I've said time and time again, over the 4 or 5 years that we've been here, we've done more than any legislature in the history of this country. Whether it's gun control, whether it's tobacco, whether it's minimum, whether it's worker protection, we've done more than any legislature in the history of this country. And I wouldn't have done that without Ian. Everything that we've done as a body has been because of, would not have been possible without Ian. And I would like to report that in the last 4 election cycles, there's been a Calderon lawn sign on my parents' front yard that my mom has put up. And I remember going about 2 years ago to my mom's house, and she said, "Oh, do you know all these things that Ian's doing about ocean protection and blah, blah, blah?" I'm like, "How do you know that?" She's like, "Oh, I went to his community coffee last week." My mom is a huge Calderon fan, and it's all because of you. My entire family is a Calderon family, are fans because of you. I didn't want to like you, and I ended up loving you. Thank you, Ian.
Mr. Calderon, the floor is yours.
It's going to be hard for me. I've been in Sacramento my whole life. And my dad was elected in 82. I was born in 85. So my birth was announced on this floor. I played tag in the Senate on the floor while the Senate was in session. It's a huge, huge part of my life. What makes it as hard as I know at least is watching. We do a lot of amazing things up here together, whether we agree with each other or not. But we couldn't do those things if it wasn't for the people that stand behind us, and if it wasn't for the people that help run this institution. So I want to start with a couple thank yous, because just like behind every great man, there's a great woman. Behind every great member, there's a great staff. There's a great institution. I want to start by thanking everyone behind me. They are, above and away, the best there is at their job. And it's important to me that things run smoothly on this floor for a lot of reasons, because I respect you, I respect your time, and when we're on the floor, we should be working, we should be doing things. I don't waste your time. There's always work to do, but we need to get out so we could also see our families, because that's all extremely important to us. Things over the last couple of years could not have gone as smoothly and as well as they have if it wasn't for the clerk and their staff. So if you can please help me give a round of applause. They are a huge asset to every single one of us. We also have a floor team that work really, really hard. And so I just want to take a moment to thank Brian, Juan, and Brandon, because the hurdles and the gymnastics that they are performing back there at the back of the chambers in the office, it is amazing. They keep us moving, and they give me everything that I need to make sure that we were getting our work done. So if you could please join me giving them a round of applause. I want to thank my staff. I've been so fortunate to have such an amazing staff. And for the most part, relatively low turnover rate, which I'm pretty happy about. I feel like people were relatively happy in my office, and I wasn't too much of a nightmare. So they stuck around long enough to see at least a year through. And, there are some that are in my office that have been there for a long time from day one, but then also others that have gone out and are doing amazing things. And what was always so important to me was that I wanted every single one of my staff members that worked in my office to leave in a better position than they had come in. And it was so important to me to help them do that, as it is for every single one of us. And I have an amazing district staff. Every single person that has ever worked in my district is amazing, and I have an amazing Capitol staff that has been so stellar and so strong. And it's been difficult because not only has my bill priorities been their priority, but also the priorities of the members, and that's important to them, have also been their priorities. So they've had to take on a lot. They've done a lot of amazing things. So if you could join me in thanking my staff, I'd really appreciate that. I want to do a special carve-out for my Chief of Staff, Tom White. He is an amazing person and one of the most amazing, cherished friends I have ever had in my entire life. I am so honored and proud to have been able to work with him over these years. It's not a lot. Early on, I went through a pretty hard time. No fault of my own. Family. That's why God gives you family. You wouldn't pick them necessarily to be in your family, but you got them. But I would not have gotten through that time without Tom. When bad, shitty things happen to you, you want to hide, especially in this position because it's so embarrassing. And whether you did anything wrong or not, you still own that. And you get brought up in it. It sucks. But Tom was strong, and he helped me push through it. And rather than cowering and hiding, we came up with this plan to say, I had nothing to do with anything. So it was get out there more, be seen more, do more things. You have nothing to hide. And I have a community to represent. The next election was close, but I wouldn't have gotten there without Tom. He has done so much behind the scenes for every single person on this floor, whether you realize it or not. He works extremely hard. He is the most knowledgeable person, and what I've always appreciated about him is his respect for this institution, which has been so important to me. Institution of government is extremely important, not just to me, but to all of us. If people don't have faith in this institution and the stewards of this institution, you don't have a democracy. They have to trust us. They have to trust the way this institution works. But that institution is run by people like Tom. And so I'm happy that Tom is going to stay beyond me and continue to work for all of you. But he is an amazing asset to this institution. He's been an amazing asset and friend to me. So if you can please join me. Give me a round of applause. Really wish I could stop crying. I want to thank my family. For those of you who spend time with me, you understand how important my family is. I know there was a lot of questions, a lot of speculation about why I made the decision I made. And quite honestly, it was actually Elise, not because she wanted me to leave, because we were both terrified about leaving, because that's uncertainty, and we have a family, you want certainty. But, we had so many conversations leading up to the end of last year about how we were going to make it work. I mean, what was always my priority is family. I wanted to start a family, I wanted to have a lot of kids, as many kids as we possibly can, as much as she wanted to have. As much as she was willing to have. It's not my call. I kept making excuses because I really didn't want to leave. This is I love this, and I'd always wanted to do all 12 years, but it was one point that she had made that really brought it home for me is, she had just been pregnant with Crew, and she had said, in 2 years, if you stay, Crew will be as old, our unborn child will be as old as our oldest child is now. And that struck me because for my oldest, I missed her first words, I missed her first time that she crawled, I missed her first steps. I wasn't around for that. I wasn't around because I was here. And I'm proud of the work that I've done here. But these are moments I will never get back. You can always come back here as long as you've got time. You can always advocate. Even if you're not here, you could do things and fight for causes that are important to you. But that's time I'll never get back. And that's why I made that decision. And she has been the number one partner in all of this. I could not have served as long as I had served without her. The sacrifice that she has taken on to allow me to be here, I can't say that I could have done the same. I just don't. I mean, even with just one kid being home alone all week while I was gone, I couldn't help. The amount of stress that is. You love your kids, but they get you, and they wear on you. And after a couple days, any sane person goes crazy. And she took on a lot, and I love her more than anything in this world. She is my number one. They say you have your person. She is my person, and I love her to death. I'm looking forward to what life is going to look like for the both of us, and I know she's watching, so I love you, Elise, and thank you for everything. And I will let you know, if you received a text from me, especially if it's about a bill or she's probably the one that texts you, because a lot of times we're driving, and I can't text while I'm driving, so she's the one that's on the phone. So you all have texted with her whether you realize it or not. I'm proud of the time I've been here. I'm proud of the work that I've done. I'm proud to have served with every single one of you. All of you are amazing. It's so easy. When I go out, so many people are so willing to talk shit about us and how corrupt we are and how we're this and how we're that. And always told them, that's just a broad characterization, and you're judging us by the lowest common denominator, but you would be surprised of how many amazing people I work with, how smart they are, how committed they are, whether we agree or not. Some of my closest friends that I will be friends with forever are Republicans. People don't understand how bipartisan we really are. Doesn't mean we have to agree on everything, but we agree more than we disagree. We're all humans, we're all Americans, we're all Californians. We love each other, we care about each other, we care about each other's future. It's easy to get lost, and it's easy to get mixed up in the whole world of what's going on around us. But we're California, we are a beacon. We set a tone, we set an example, and it's so important that all of you continue to do that. And I have faith in you, and I know that you will. And I'm sorry I can't be there to continue on the fight with you, but thank you so much for allowing me to serve. Thank you so much for showing me dignity and respect, especially coming in as a freshly new 27-year-old where you really didn't have to show me a lot of respect because I was a young kid, and I'm sure I got it a lot. What do you know about life? You're too young. Go serve. So, and believe me, I would have loved to. I haven't even served once this year, but that's okay. Because this is what's important. This is what matters. I fear that I may have career peaked too soon in my life because I don't know if I'm going to enjoy anything else as much as I enjoy this. But I am going to enjoy spending time with my family. So thank you for all your time. Thank you for your respect. It was my honor to serve you, to serve with you. God bless.
Ian, we have one more with Mr. Gloria, Mr. Mullen, and we'll come down. Mr. Speaker, yes. We want to present, and also, yes, Ms. Waldron and Mr. Flora, we want to present this. It bears all the members of the state legislature's signatures as a token of our appreciation, our gratitude. You will always be our majority leader, so thank you very much for serving not only your district, but also the people of the state of California. Thank you very much.
Mr. Calderon, you have some additional words for us.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, thank you to you. You are the best in the business. Assemblymember Bauer Cahan is absolutely the second best in the business, so please join me in thanking our pro tems for their amazing work. But Rebecca, man, she's got that speed. She's got that speed. Assemblymember Todd Gloria, what a gift to this institution. Best majority whip we've had. My counterpart, our assistant majority leader, the guy who takes over when I couldn't be on the floor or when I couldn't be in town, especially when I spent all that time away on my paternal leave, Mr. Rob Bonta, assistant majority leader. And I also want to thank our assistant whips, Tasha, as well as Jesse Gabriel. They did a great job whipping votes, getting everybody floor on time. What an amazing floor team we have. I also want to thank our Republican counterpart and my Republican counterpart, Heath Flora. Although you object to too many of my motions, thank you for always being so easy to work with, Heath. And again, another thank you to all the floor team, all the floor staff, and also somebody that goes unnoticed quite a lot, but Carrie Cornwell. She does a lot of amazing things in dealing with the Senate. She probably has the worst of it, so please give her a round of applause as well. Thank you. I will digress. When you get emotional, you forget certain things when you're giving a speech, and I was pretty emotional when I gave my tribute. But I wanted to add one more thing, if I could, just for a moment, and that is, Mr. Speaker, you took a chance on me when you didn't have to take a chance on me to make me the majority leader. And I know a lot of people talked probably to you about me in that position, and you had faith in me, and you believed in me, and that meant the world to me, because out of everything that I could have done in this house, this is what I believed I was the best suited for, because I truly cared about the operation of this house and how to get it done. But we went through a lot of things during that speakership race and getting him to where he is to be our leader. But I will say the reason why I supported him early on and was willing to do whatever it took to make sure he became speaker was because of his intentions and why he wanted to be in that position. It's easy when you become, you get in power to let the title and everything that comes with that title, that be the motivation for you seeking that position. And for him, it was never about the title. It was never about what came with that position that motivated him to want to become the speaker. And that was why I supported him, because he wanted it for the right reasons. He wanted it because of the difference that he can make by being in that position. And I also wanted it for him because he was my friend. He has a good heart. He wants to do the right things, and I think it's important to stand with your friends and help them achieve their goals and help them achieve their dreams. So I would not have had the success that I've had in Sacramento. I would not have had the time that I've had in Sacramento, the opportunities that I've had, the amazing time that I've had up here, without him taking that step to believe in me at a time when I know it was difficult for him to make that decision to believe in me. You are my friend for life. I will respect you always. I am comfortable leaving knowing that the state, at least at this house, is in your hands. I love you more than you will ever understand. Thank you for believing in me.